Thank you.
Okay, so now we've got a joint one. Lesley and Andrew together are going to talk about the same thing.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a big beat at the
No,
present
you're right.
time.
Take your time. Take your time.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Lesley's gone first.
Oh, Lesley, sorry.
Hi. Kia ora koutou. My name is Lesley Willoughby and I'm here to talk about Waian and Hulbert Street in Linwood North and the recent Waitai Coastal Burwood Linwood Community Board 8th of April meeting decision to remove the Waian and Hulbert Street renewal project from the CRAF program. This project was originally approved by the previous Waikato Linwood Central Heathcote Community Board on the 13th of April 2022. What we're asking today is that the Waian and Hulbert Street upgrade renewal is returned to the CREF program project, or that the council LTP funding be brought forward to continue on with this project. The decision to remove this project from the CREF funding was approved at the recent community board meeting on the 8th of April, to which we were given no notice of this topic being on the agenda, and secondly to only receiving this information about the removal on the Friday the 19th of April, 11 days after the decision was made. It was recommended in the email that we could make a submission to the LTP, which was closing in 2 days' time. The renewal project for the upgrade of Waian and Hulbert Streets has been a long drawn out process dating back more than 20 years and should have been done long before the earthquakes. It is only getting worse and more expensive. During this time, our project has landed in various council schemes. Anyone who has assessed the road condition and written reports over the years has noted comments like multiple failings, degraded, Waian Street has reached the end of its life and needs to be replaced. Noted from the email received from the council regarding the costs being significantly over the project budget and the factors contributing to this being the presence of coal tar protecting the existing culvert and significant drainage requirements. None of these factors are going away, and in the meantime the cost continues to increase. The project scope included replacing existing curb and dish channel, widen footpaths, provide safe pedestrian crossing facilities, modify the road width and layout to support the residential nature of the street and the proposed 30 km/h speed restrictions. The project timeline: consultation January 2024, scheme design complete March 2024, construction start date is by October 2024, and the project delivery to be completed by the end of June 2025. We received public information about consultations in May 2024 with the information Way Safer Streets in Linwood. Tell us what you think. We welcome your submissions. Have your say. So I did. I emailed the council engagement team, thanked them for the council's decision to make improvements to the Linwood area and asking that we could have some input into the renewal project. The engagement advisor replied with thanks for our interest and enthusiasm for the planned renewal and that they welcome the opportunity to work with local residents as our insights are essential to the success of the project. Inclusion into the CRAF process saw us finally getting somewhere when some residents were invited to a meeting hosted by the Council Project Engagement Advisor in September 2024. This meeting was attended by Paul McMahon, Jackie Simons, Yanni Johansson, Project Engagement Advisor, Project Manager, Design Consultants and 4 street representatives. It was a positive meeting. They listened and engaged with our comments and thoughts, although full funding was mentioned as once again a potential hold-up, but we felt confident that the next stage of communicating with the wider street residents would go ahead early in 2024. Again, we waited patiently for a response from the council. Then on Friday the 19th of April, I received an email referring to the community board which took place on the 8th of April, 11 days prior, where the Waian and Holbert Street Renewal Project was removed from the CRAF programme. We were given no notice of this agenda item and are offended that the community's views were not able to be heard before a decision was made. We have since listened to the community board meeting, and a staff member has asked whether the community has been notified about this proposed decision, and we are again offended at their response that the community didn't need to be notified. My understanding is that residents have the right under the Local Government Act to be heard and informed. Do council departments communicate with each other and work together? Even though the CRAF program was in motion, of concern in late 2022, the road was partially resurfaced. I say partially because they only do a strip down the middle. Within 3 weeks, this was ripped up and relaid. We were advised that the first lot hadn't been laid properly. Why didn't this team of repairers know about our place in the CRAF project? And what a waste of funding. Maybe these sorts of activities are what has blown out the budget. So what we're asking today is that Waian and Holbert Street upgrade renewal is returned to the CRAF program project, and that consultation on a design commences as soon as possible, given the work already done, or that the council LTP funding is brought forward so that this project can continue with additional funding similar to what has been done with other projects that have been over budget, so that progress is not lost and costs do not increase further. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, and
Andrew.
Andrew, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to submit the Council's long-term plan. My submission refers to the work needed on Waian and Holbert Street in Linwood, a project that has now been constantly put on the back burner for years now. My name is Andrew McDougall, and I have been a resident in Waian Street for 57 years. The slides I have submitted show photographs of the poor state of the pavements, a press article of the 25th of April and a slide of last year's annual plan, which shows the intention to have completed this work earlier. My neighbour and good friend Lesley Willoughby has given you concise information on where we are currently with the Waian and Holbert Street Renewal Project, and on the long history of the project which has kept us living in hope since last century. We were really getting excited and something was happening at long last, and had been looking forward to participating in the consultation which we have believed was due in March of this year. Instead, we were absolutely astounded when we got a mail on the 19th of April saying that the project has been withdrawn from the CRAF funding of the Waitai Council Burwood Linwood Community Board on the 8th of April. As my neighbour Lesley has said, this decision, compounded by the further decision not to inform the resident, has left us feeling that we are being treated with contempt. In fact, I was so upset at this decision, I decided to write a letter to the press expressing my disgust at further delays. Instead of printing my letter, a journalist asked if she could interview me to write an article about our concerns. She did that, and the excellent article was published in the press on the 25th of April. I commend you to read it. We don't want the prospect of even more years of putting up with this dreadful and dangerous pavements and gutters and very poor lighting, and the dangers of grossly excessive speeds of passing vehicles. I'm pleased to note that the Community Board are supporting the residents and seeking funding from the Council. I also read in yesterday's press that the Council are seeking to build trust in the East. It's infrastructure that we need to be built. The main points I would like to make are: 1, the work needs to be done. 2, the costs are never going to reduce. 3, due to increasing density, there will be many more occupants in Waian Street, leading to even more wear and tear on the infrastructure. 4. The increasing housing density of the streets will result in more ratepayers to help with the funding. 5. A substantial rates increase is planned for the residents of Christchurch. We would like to see some evidence locally that we are getting something in return for the increased rates. 6. It would be really useful to know what funding is actually available. Then the project would be worked out with residents to see what could be achieved within the budget. I'm 92 years old and would love to see this work done now. If not, then I propose a name change of the street from Wyan Street to Why Not Street. Thank you for your time listening.
Thank you very much. Now, I've got one question which was real early with Tyler.
Kia ora. Thank you so much for your time. What a great presentation it was. I just wanted to just flag to staff just to use this as a question point just to see some options on what their requests were. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in. Take your time getting up.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Phil, just thinking about that one, could we also in that advice come back, if it can be earlier, see whether we've got any underspend in transport that may be something we can bring to council or finance performance to speed up?
Do something not somewhere else. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it would be good to just get some, if the advice can come back earlier than the LTP, it might be something we can do in this year's budget, perhaps.
yes,
Yeah, so I was going to do either a petition or a notice of motion, but it would be good to get the advice. That there are council resolutions to get advice on how we can accelerate the craft. Obviously, this is a funding issue as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, whatever process, but as you heard from the residents, we're supposed to be consulting now. They've already done some engagement, and regardless of the funding situation, why cannot the consultation continue to come up with the scheme design? And
it's probably one of those
we're
ones
just
that needs to
losing
be
months
picked up.
otherwise.
Yeah.
yeah, we've got it.
taken
Yeah,
it.
we've got it.
Sorry, if we're going to look though at this underfunded SURF project, can we have advice on what the cost would be to do all the underfunded SURF projects?
It's not a surf project, it's a craft project. This is the acceleration funding. And I think it would also be good to get some advice around our obligations under the Local Government Act in terms of engagement. Like
Okay,
it's pretty
yep,
concerning
yep,
to hear
we've
what
got
we
it.
heard.
Got it. Yep. John, please. John Curry, thank you.